And we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Savvy Real Estate Investor Show. Pretty excited today. We have Angie Aki, and she's going to talk to us about real estate syndications. Quick bio for Angie. She has been a real estate investor for the past 4 years. She left a successful pharmaceutical sales career in 2019 after 18 years in corporate America to enter active real estate investing full time. This is when she discovered passive real estate investing, and she continues to invest both actively and passively in real estate investments as an operator, co-GP, fund manager, and as a lender. She is now combining her active and passive investing experience to bring opportunities to grow your wealth alongside with her. She is focused on multifamily and commercial projects in the Southeast US and the Sun Belt states, as well as building and entitlement projects in Florida and Texas. That's quite the introduction there for Angie. Angie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Satch. I appreciate it.
Yes, glad to have you. So it's pretty interesting. So you had a 18-year uh, career in the pharmaceutical sales. Why did you leave that uh, to become a real estate investor?
So many reasons, but it was one of those careers. It just kind of it found me. I've always been in sales and marketing of some capacity for over 20 years. I started in pharmaceutical sales after a couple years out of college and just grew my career from there. Um, and then it was one of those things. I quite honestly, I was good at it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I felt like there was something else, and I felt like I was meant to do something else. Um, so I went down the path that I was quote unquote supposed to, right? So we're all taught, you know, or a lot of us are taught, I should say, go to school, get a good job, rise up in the ranks, get promoted, right? Get married, have babies, do all these things. And I did all those things and I checked all those boxes, but still there was something that was missing. It was, I kind of describe it as like the itch I couldn't scratch. And I didn't realize that entrepreneurship was even an option because my family is not, I don't come from a long list of entrepreneurs. And so I wasn't really provided that as an option, and I didn't even know to seek it out. So as I discovered real estate investing and as I discovered entrepreneurship and started getting a taste for it, I was like, oh, this is why in corporate I'm always like, why are we doing it like this? This doesn't make sense, right? We should do it another way. And I felt like I was constantly swimming upstream. And so I found real estate investing, and I decided that I would take a leap of faith and jump out of corporate after about 18 plus years in 2019. So and then just before that, one of the so there were two factors that kind of went into it. The straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, if you want to work through that, is we got our incentive compensation rolled out to us, and they said, okay, well, basically, if you do the same work and grow your business the same, we feel like we kind of overpaid you guys last year. So in essence, based on the calculation, I would have made, if I performed at the same rate, I would have made probably about $30,000 less. And I
Wow.
said, I'm out, I'm done. Um, so that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And
Wow.
it,
I've
it's
never heard
been
of
it's
that.
been a great journey since.
So they essentially say, hey, we overpay you guys. Were they asking for any of that money back, or were they proposing to pay
No,
you
no,
just
no,
for the
no.
flat
And
commission?
it wasn't, it's not that they truly overpaid. They just, right, it's sales position, right? So you're either it's salary plus bonus or sometimes straight commission or whatever it is. So if you know anyone in sales, it's like, okay, we did this and you get to this. Like, okay, well now your number's this, and then you do that. And it just keeps going up and up and up. And at some point, when you grow at such velocity, it's really hard to meet those goals because those goals never go down ever. They
Yeah.
just keep going up.
Was there a book or seminar, or what was it that, because in entrepreneurship, there's so many fields you can go into, right? What was it that led you down to real estate?
I always had an interest in real estate, just kind of on the surface. And ironically, my husband and I had looked at a rental here locally in Central Florida. And thankfully, we didn't buy it. We were going to go the traditional 20% down, put a tenant in it, right? And maybe eke out 100, $200 a month, maybe if the AC held up or, right, nothing went sideways. And I talked to a woman who I had connected with at a birthday party a couple times, and she was flipping. And so I met with her. I said, hey, can I take you out to coffee? We went to Panera. We started talking. She gave me a really brief overview of creative financing and some of the other things that go along that are awesome within real estate investing. I was like, man, that's awesome. I want to do that. I want to learn more. And she told me about a mentorship program, and I joined it. And it was a great program in that it really gave me an overview of so many different components of real estate investing. So that's when I really was sold, for lack of a better term, on real estate investing, and got to, experience some of the creative financing options, some flipping. I experienced wholesaling. The only thing that it didn't really have a part of it was multifamily and commercial, which I am in now. But it was great that it gave me a taste of everything, so I could feel what was the best fit, both for my personality, for my lifestyle, for my family at the time. So it was through a connection. It was through a network.
Yeah, that's awesome. Most people, I think, they either have like a somebody that they already know in real estate that is doing pretty good. For me,
Mhm.
it was a book. Like I read a book, and that would like
Mhm.
completely change
Yeah.
paths. But it's pretty interesting to see how people get into this field, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You mentioned something about and I don't know, I'm asking this question. I don't even know if you own any single family home rentals, but just based on what you just said earlier about getting $100 to $200 a month on a property, and hopefully the AC doesn't go out. Um, I don't personally like single family homes. I don't own any. I had the opportunity to own many, and I
Hmm.
won't even touch them.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on single family homes?
No interest. I'm not your girl. Like, please don't call me at 4 in the morning and tell me that your toilet doesn't flush, right? Or like your rent payment's going to be late or something. That's not me. I have no interest in dealing with that. I also, for me too, always, is $100, or sometimes it's $200, or maybe a little bit more. Does that really make sense? You're right, because eventually you do have maintenance, you do have wear and tear, you have property management if you don't want to have the calls from tenants, right? um, so for me, it never really made sense. I know a lot of people do really well in it, and I think that's great. But it just doesn't work for what I'm trying to do and for the investing goals we have as a family. And I think that's really important, is to really outline your investing goals so you are really crystal clear on what you're doing and where you're going. So when you get opportunities and you get offerings, you could say, okay, yes, this meets my criteria, and this helps me get to where I want to be, or this doesn't. So that you're not trying to figure that out at the last minute. But for me, I don't own any single family rentals. I don't it's just not what I want to do. Now, I will, as a lender, I will participate. So I will participate passively. We have purchased single family houses to flip them, but we're not holding them.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'm if I were lending, I'll probably be on the same
Hmm.
page as you are.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're in a couple of different uh, branches in real estate, right?
Hmm.
Walk us a little bit into walk us through what was the first couple of things that you were doing, and what are you doing now?
Yeah. So I started, as I mentioned, I went through this mentoring program where I got a little taste of a few different things. And what I really enjoyed was wholesaling, because remember, I came from a sales background. So wholesaling, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is the fastest path to cash in real estate. So I needed something that was going to replace, if I was leaving a really successful sales career. So I needed something to replace a multiple six-figure income. So when I said, hey, I want to quit my job, my husband was supportive, right? Not like, hey, I want to quit my job and I've only been making 20 grand a year. That wasn't my reality. And we were really blessed. That wasn't my reality, but I needed and wanted something to replace that. And wholesaling fit that. So I jumped into wholesaling with 2 feet. That's kind of how I run my life. Anything I decide to do, I'm in with 2 feet. I burn the boats so that there's really no way to go back. I started wholesaling, solely wholesaling. That's the only thing I did from October 2018 until last year, so 2021. But I started wholesaling October 2018. I decided to quit my job in April of 2019 and quit July 1st of 2019. So right after our bonus got paid out. Good times. And so I was wholesaling, and I did wholesaling, and I didn't scale it. I kept it very small. And I know you have a wholesaling business as well, Satch, that you run passively at this point, and you've been able to scale it. And you have a team. And that's awesome. And I respect that. That's not something that I wanted. I don't really enjoy managing people and all of that. So I kept it really small, but I did very well for myself. And then last year I realized it's like, man, I am the same hamster on a different wheel, right? Because wholesaling is, unless you scale it, is still really active. And it was myself and one or two other people. So that means it's really active. And I didn't scale it to the capacity where it can be passive. And so I realized I was the same hamster on a different wheel, and I wanted to create something more passive for my family and myself included. And so I kind of fall into things, I think, or you can believe if I believe in divine intervention. But I stumbled upon multifamily and went to a multifamily boot camp and got a crash course in multifamily and went, holy crap, right?
What boot camp was this?
I'm sorry?
What boot camp was this?
It was Lance Edwards boot camp.
Okay.
So he's one of the multifamily guys. There's a lot as you get into this, right? There's a ton of them. There's a ton of experts and boot camps and all that. But it was great. I read his book. I went to the boot camp and got a crash course in it. And I went, oh my gosh, where has this been? Because where wholesaling really fit my needs at that point and really reflected what I had done in sales and marketing for close to 20 years. The multifamily and the commercial real estate side also is a really great reflection of my personality because it's very logical. I'm a very logical person. I'm straightforward. I don't like the emotions of single family and, oh, is it pretty, or what did the house down the road sell for? I'm like, who cares, right? So commercial is great because it's black and white. It's based on finances. It's based on, what you can do in your net operating income. And that's what's important. It's asset based and financial based. And so I love that. So I started focusing on multifamily. And within multifamily, as opposed to a lot of the other real estate investing strategies, it is a team sport. So you are one player amongst many. And I really like that. I'm a huge believer in your network and the people you surround yourself with. And I say all the time, my network is one of my greatest assets. So I took the last part of 2021 and really looked at my strengths, my weaknesses, what I liked doing, what I didn't like doing, to really hone into what value I could bring a multifamily team or a syndication. And I kept landing on capital raising and investor relations, asset management, things like that. And so that's what I decided to specialize in. And that's what I'm doing now. So that is, I work with investors and bring investors opportunities and offerings, and work with general partners or with other fund managers, and I cover the investor relations side.
Love it.
So that was my journey in a nutshell.
I love it. Man, that was a lot. Why, when you said team sport in multifamily, can you break that down a little bit more? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're doing a fix and flip, right, technically you could do it by yourself or with a really small team. When you're wholesaling, you can do it. You can do it by yourself if you want, right? Same with the BRRRR strategy. Same with rentals, right? You can do that stuff by yourself. But with multifamily, if you're talking about assets and you're talking about, let's say you're talking about 200 doors, can you truly do that by yourself? Maybe. but you really need, right? You need someone to help with the acquisitions of it, whether it's someone on your team or a broker or a wholesaler. You need your other general partners, right? You need sponsors. You may need key principals or someone to sign on the loan. You need a property management company that has a great track record to work with. You need asset managers, right? They have to make sure the business plan's executed. You need people to be on the investors relations side or to get that capital in order so that you can close and you have the CapEx or the capital expenditures needed to increase your NOI. So you need, there's a lot of different players that operate as in multifamily and commercial real estate, and that's what I love. I just think it's more fun. I'm a big believer in abundance, so I would rather work with a group of people, right? And we all rise to success together and work together as a team towards the common goal. I love that. And then from a syndication standpoint, I love that we can bring other investors in, right? And they can benefit from working with a syndication. They can benefit from working with a solid team without having to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Can,
That
can
that the GP team puts in.
yeah, can you break down what a syndication is, just for anyone that may not know?
Sure. It's basically a group of people coming together for a common goal or a common investment. So, for instance, if we are buying, we'll go back to the 200 unit multifamily or apartment building I mentioned in my last example. The reality is, can you buy that? You know, if you're listening to this, can you buy that by yourself? A lot of us may not be able to, and that's okay. But we can bring people together so that you can own a piece of that, right? So maybe you get a certain return and you get a little piece of that equity. And then the operations team, right? They may or may not put money in depending on the syndication, but they're putting in all of the work. And then as LPs or limited partners, you're helping with the funding, but you're not putting in the sweat equity.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think there's such a why do you think there's not that many people that know about multifamily syndications? Like, even when we started in real estate, we
Mm-hmm.
still did not know that we can do big multifamily deals, right? Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. It's mind blowing to me. I am on a mission to change that because it is so frustrating to me. I didn't even realize that I could, as I got into real estate investing, that I could be a private lender and that I could lend on something with a note and a mortgage in place. So my struggle, right, and it's a quote unquote struggle, was I had a really successful career. I had cash I was sitting on and stockpiled. I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't want to put more money in the market. We had money in the market through our 401ks and other things. I'm a huge believer in diversification. And so, I had no idea. I kind of stumbled upon it. And then once I stumbled upon it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is magical. And I truly believe that passively investing in real estate is like magic. It is one of the best ways that you can create generational wealth. And I read something this morning that talks about being rich is very short term and creating wealth is long term, right? And that can be around for generations. And that's what I'm on a path to, and that's what I want to help as many other people continue down that path and grow generational wealth for their family. Um, I think a lot of people feel like, and Satch, you mentioned as we got into real estate investing, we didn't really know about multifamily, and then we've uncovered it. I know for me, it was 4.5 years later almost. There seems to be a thought process or a thought that you have to start with single family, right? You have to start here and graduate to multifamily. And that is 100% false. That is poor information. That is not the fact. You can start with multifamily. Frankly, I wish I had started with multifamily. So you can start wherever you want. You don't have to quote unquote graduate to any level. And that's what's great about real estate investing. There's so many ways to make money. There's so many different asset classes. There's always something to learn. But I don't know why it's not talked about more. We're going to change that. And
We're gonna
that's part
change
of
it.
this. That's part of this podcast, right? That's part of being here and collaborating and working together and getting it to as many people as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, many people ask me if I were to start from zero again, knowing what I don't know now, will I still do the same? And I said, no, I will not start my single family wholesaling business because you don't have to. Uh,
Mhm.
Now, I don't stop it right now because it's producing income for me, right? So why will I cut the faucet off? But
Mhm.
if I was in the hamster wheel doing the thing every day, I would definitely
Yep.
cut it off.
I cut mine off. I cut mine off last year. So
Yeah.
I stopped wholesaling completely. I don't, I mean, I have some lead sources where I just get opportunities. Obviously, I'm not turning those down, right? But I'm not proactively going out to source wholesaling leads or deals anymore.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I love it. I like how you jump with both
yeah,
feet in, burn the boats,
yeah. Burn the boats, baby. There's no going back.
and you're very driven. And I know you say you're in a mission to change some of the stuff that like bring more knowledge to the marketplace about multifamily stuff, but I feel like there's something underlying that's really your driving factor for everything that you do in general. What is it?
Yeah. Um, so my why, right, and what drives me is I guess threefold, right? So number one, and it sounds very cliche, but it's my family. I have a 9-year-old, he just turned 9. I have a 9-year-old son, and I really want to create generational wealth for him. So much of how a lot of us grow up is you need to get a good job, right? You need to be able to pay for this and whatnot. And that's really great. And yes, you should pay for your own things. But I want him to have the freedom where if he wants to, I don't know, right, be a teacher. I really appreciate teachers. And I realize, unfortunately, they're very underpaid. But if he wants to be a teacher, I want him to have that ability. And I want him to have the ability to do what he wants in life that makes him happy and fulfills him, because I spent years, and please don't get me wrong, pharmaceutical sales is a great career, but I spent years doing something that I wasn't truly passionate about because it paid really well. And I don't want that for him. So that's kind of my first and my core why. The second part of that, and kind of bundled in, is our family side. So I was given the opportunity, and it was a family decision that I would leave my corporate job in 2019. And I want to be able to pay that forward. So, my goal now is to be able to provide my husband an option to retire within 5 years. Whether or not he wants to take that, I'll leave that to him. I have a feeling I know what he'll say. And that's probably one of his favorite goals that I have. But I want to provide him that opportunity because I was given that opportunity as part of our family decision. And then last but not least, it truly is getting passive investing to as many people as possible. It is a game changer. It is magical. It creates generational wealth. Not enough people are talking about it. And so if I can change the degree of wealth that just one family has, right? Or change something. Maybe it allows their kids to go to college, or maybe it allows them to support their aging parents, whatever it is. If I can positively impact one family at a time through passive real estate investing, that is my why.
Man, I
Because
love
I
that.
feel like, right, it's like, it's changing the world one family at a time. Because if you're changing the world in the right way and you're creating wealth, right, and I'm in a lot of different women's groups, so don't take this the wrong way, but one of the groups I'm in, it's like nothing bad happens when women make more money, right? And
Right.
so if you're putting wealth in the hands of people that are doing the right things, think of all the amazing things that we can do in this world, right? We truly can make a huge difference and a huge impact in this world. And it can, in my mind, all come from passive real estate investing, because why not?
Yeah. 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 I love that. And you, what are some ways that you provide value to your investors?
Um, Education is really such a core part of what I do and what we do at Ohana Investment Partners. Um, we provide webinars twice a month. We provide newsletters. You can book a call. Soon we'll be launching a Facebook group. So there's a local meetup here. I'm going to be doing evening webinars and educational events as well. There's education is such a huge part of passive real estate investing. And it's not education like you have to take on another full-time job, or you have to attend a 3-day boot camp or anything like this. The information that we roll out is in really small, short, digestible bits of information. So typically 15 to 20 minutes, or right, events are a little bit different, but it's information to educate you so that you understand passive real estate investing, you understand commercial real estate investing, or syndications, or multifamily, right? In different asset classes, different components of syndications, different components of funds, so that when you have the right opportunity or offering come across your desk as an investor, you're like, yes, this meets my investing criteria. This meets my investing goals. I know what this means. I can read this PPM. I can digest an investment summary deck, and it makes sense. I'm ready to pull the trigger. So I would say education in a nutshell. Education. I realized that was a long answer to your question. No, education.
That's pretty good. And you were reaching here at the end of our podcast. I'm going to ask you the 2 famous questions. Yeah. And the first one is, what would you recommend to someone who is just finding out about real estate syndications?
I would say take action. I know in real estate or real estate syndications, however you slice it, there's so many ways to make money in real estate. And so many people get stuck in analysis paralysis or shiny object syndrome, right? So it's either they're doing all this research and don't do anything, or it's like, okay, this, and then this, and then this, and they're not focused. So focus on something and take action. That is my pet peeve. Nothing is going to change unless your actions change. So you have to take action. So take action, whether it is educating yourself, whether it is listening to this podcast, whether it's looking through a PPM or an investment deck and understanding the terms. Take action, take some sort of action every single day. And you will see it will compound. You will see it add up over time.
Love it. And what's your most favorite real estate or business book?
So one that I recently read, and I had heard about it and I understand the concept, but I love it, is Who Not How. Again, I am such a huge component. Like, I surround myself with amazing people, and I try to surround myself with people that have different strengths. You know, I don't like operations. I'm not the best operator, but my goal is to surround myself with the best operators. So I would say Who Not How. If you're not great at something, focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. And that has been something that I focused on recently, and it's made a big difference. So focus on what you're good at, find someone to team up with, or outsource all the other stuff too.
Yep. I 100% agree. That's that book right there. Who Not How.
I know I should have brought my copy. I have one downstairs.
Angie, before we go, how can people find out more about you?
You can go to our website, www.ohanainvestmentpartners.com. You can, if there's a tab on the top right corner for invest, if you're interested in investing, you can always book a call with me as well. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm under Angie Lee Aki.
Love it. Angie, we're very glad to have you in the show today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Bye, everyone.